Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be almost doing what I like to call a throwback here. Now, this isn't a old story or anything like that. This actually is a pretty new story, but it really reminds me of a few topics that I covered. I want to say it was like the summer of 2019. You may remember this as well, especially if you're a longtime viewer here. But there was this woman who went viral online. I think it was on TikTok because she walked into her local Walmart and she went to the frozen aisle. She started pulling out ice cream from the freezers and she started literally licking the ice cream after taking the lids off, putting the items back on the shelf, basically contaminating food that other people would be buying at the grocery store with her own bodily fluids. Now, this was a pretty insane story at the time. I know a lot of people were talking about it, but it appears that we now have somebody who has taken it many steps further. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that eating ice cream and putting it back in the thing at the store is good or it's weak compared to this, but this is something that could legitimately get somebody killed. And I mean that full-heartedly. I mean, there's no way around this. There's no funniness to this. This is not a joke. This is not cool. There's nothing about this that is right in any way. So this story has been going viral on social media over the last day or so of a guy in Mesa, Arizona who went around spraying bug killer on a bunch of the produce and vegetables and fruit or whatever at his local Walmart in the city. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. Like I said, it really reminds me of these other situations that we've talked about. And the craziest part is from what I can recall, the people who did the other shit, like licking ice cream and whatnot, and the copycats afterwards that tried to follow up doing that, they all got arrested, and I'm pretty sure they were charged with very significant charges. I think it was like bioterrorism or something fucking nutty. I mean, I might be wrong about that. It might be foggy memory, but you would think that this shit is something that you could think and just be like, well, that's common sense. I'm gonna get in trouble if I do this. But apparently common sense is not too common. So anyway, before we get into this, I want to go ahead and say, if you're brand new around here on the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way, the next time something stupid like this happens and I cover it when I'm talking about this video, you'll be able to look back on it like, damn, I remember the day I subscribed. So anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this video. Alright, so pretty obvious what happened there. So the one thing I want to point out first, right, because it's quite literally the first thing you see in the video, and it blows my mind that people are actually this stupid, right, but this moron decided that not only was he going to walk into Walmart and do this, right, obviously this is a crime, obviously this is dangerous, it's putting other people at risk and putting them in harm's way. He's filming himself committing a crime. That's the craziest part here. He actually decided while doing this, he was going to film himself. He was going to put his face in the fucking video. That way, he's easily identifiable. Whenever the police do finally catch him and they arrest him, it's an open and shut case, you know what I mean? They can walk right in the courthouse, they can play the judge the video of this fucking idiot doing this, and there's pretty much just no way around it. This guy's lawyer is about to have a nightmare case on his hands because there's literally no way he can defend him. I mean, the guy filmed himself doing it, posted it presumably to his own social media outlets under his own name. I mean, how fucking stupid can you be? Now, the spray that he puts on these bananas is apparently this ultra hot shot bed bug and flea killer spray, which obviously is not intended for any consumption, right? These are the kinds of things, the kinds of bottles, right, that you have to hide from the kids, put up away from animals, because this shit, it's pretty dangerous. I mean, if it's enough to kill bugs and whatnot, right, it's enough to fuck you up as a person. So I did try to mentally cope a little bit for the people who could be affected, oh, hopefully, you know, the spray or whatever just stays on the skins of the banana and it doesn't actually affect anybody, because people, you know, usually are not going to be eating the skin of the banana, they just want to eat the fruit inside. But I'm almost sure, I guess, that this is probably one of those things where it could soak through and still contaminate, right? So even if it didn't somehow contaminate the food, it really doesn't matter. I mean, what this guy's doing is just fucking dangerous. It's absurd. I'm not even sure what your rationale for doing something like this would be. I mean, if you really wanted to harm people or whatever, there's like a billion different ways to do it. Now, I'm not endorsing doing it or whatever, but like, you would think there's so many more effective ways of doing it. Like, when you film yourself doing this and you post it on social media for the whole fucking world to see, did you think that, like, you know, I don't know, the employees weren't going to see this or something? I mean, not only did the guy record himself doing it, but of course, Walmart is chocked full of cameras. There's security everywhere. I just saw a news story like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago where it said in certain stores around America now, Walmart employees are starting to be equipped with body cam footage like they're the goddamn police. That way you basically catch people doing stupid shit in the stores and have better evidence of like interactions and whatnot. So you're walking into probably one of the most recorded places in your community and you're doing this shit. And realistically for what? Now, obviously, like the other cases that I talked about, my first instinct here is to assume that this is for social media attention, right? This idiot thinks that, oh, if I film myself spraying fucking bug killer all over the food at the store, I'm gonna get attention on social media, people are gonna see my face, I'm gonna be famous or whatever, right? Now, I guess that's technically true. The guy is famous, everybody's talking about it. It was trending on the Twitter Explore tab for me. I've been seeing it on other social media outlets like TikTok as well, but I don't get what they think this is gonna do for them. Like, what fame do you really think you're getting? What notoriety do you really think that you're getting? Now, the problem is, too, he didn't just spray it on the bananas, right? Like, you would think furthest somebody would really go with some shit like this, but no. He made sure to walk through the rest of the produce aisles, spraying this shit on anything he could see. Bagged items, non-bagged items, doesn't really matter. Fucking rotisserie chickens, whatnot, right? Now, what I wonder when I see videos like this, right, is people obviously have to be walking by this idiot and watching him do this shit, right? Like, people just minding their own business, shopping for their own groceries and whatever, right? They have to be walking by while this fucking idiot is, like, spraying this shit all in the food. So, what makes me wonder is, like, how did he not get reported or, like, seen by an employee while this was happening? Now, I'm not trying to blame anybody else because ultimately this person who did this is the only one who is responsible for his own actions, right? But I mean, I'd like to imagine if I was walking through Walmart, you know, going to the bread aisle or whatever, and some moron with his camera out is filming himself spraying roach killer all over everybody's fucking, you know, potatoes and tomatoes and celery and carrots and bananas and apples and grapes. I would like to think that I would like to tell somebody about that. Like, hey, you guys got some Looney Tune over here fucking up everybody's food. What's going on with that? So I guess that's not what happened, but obviously it hit social media. People started talking about it. Apparently the person behind this has now been identified by the police and there is an investigation going on. I'm gonna have to assume that eventually this idiot's gonna be arrested, right? Like, he, like I said, put his face in the whole thing. Apparently the cops have identified him. It's not long before this guy ends up going to jail for this shit, right? Now, unfortunately, this has been a somewhat recurring theme on social media over the years. Now, it's pretty rare that we see people do shit like this, but we do see people do it nonetheless. This is one of those things where I think the charges should be elevated as far as they can be, right? Now, I know a lot of people are gonna be, oh, but Optimus, you know, you gotta show sympathy to people. Why should he have to serve all this time in jail? He thought he was just doing a prank. Nah, fuck that, man. This guy knows this is not a joke. This guy knows what he's doing. He knows that he's putting people's lives literally at risk. I mean, what if somebody's child ate one of these fruits and it killed them? You know what I mean? This shit is not a joke. There's no funniness to this. This is somebody who knows what they're doing. They're very conscious of what they're doing, the harm that it could have. I feel no sympathy for people like this. If it were up to me, this guy would be serving 20 years in prison, and I'm dead serious. Like, he would be getting 20 years, no parole, and he would be sitting there for this because I just looked it up, and the last, like I said, the woman who was going around licking the ice cream in the store, apparently she was a juvenile. She did end up getting some jail time for it, but apparently it wasn't enough to stop people from continuing, right? And over the years trying to do copycats of this shit. So fuck it, I say let the judge actually hammer it home for the one time, right? Send one of these motherfuckers to prison for 20 years without parole for bioterrorism or something and see how funny it is all of a sudden for them then. Let's see how they cry in jail and shit. Let's see all the waterworks in the fucking courthouse. I didn't understand, sir, please, don't send me away. If they think it's so funny and they think that this is such an acceptable thing to do, cool, have fun doing that shit in the prison, man. Let's see you go ahead and try this shit on one of those other prisoners, Big Brody in there, right? Because you already know that shit wouldn't fly there, and you know they're not gonna try that shit in there. So if they're so willing to do shit like this, then why shouldn't they be willing to go to prison and serve real time for it? Honestly, that's the way that I see it, right? So I also do want to go ahead and throw in here too, because I haven't mentioned it yet, Walmart has made a statement on this. Apparently the employees at the store were pretty quickly aware of what happened. I don't know if it was like literally immediately after or if they found out hours later. I don't really know the details on that, but apparently the store did like deeply cleanse the produce aisle. All of the affected merchandise, from my understanding, has been disposed of by the company, so they have done something to try and limit like people being harmed in this scenario. But unfortunately, you know, the premise of this really still stands. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, well, at least Walmart cleaned it up, we're all okay now. Because once again, what if Walmart didn't know in time, right? What if some poor old woman walked up and grabbed a bag of potatoes or a rotisserie chicken before the employees could get there, and she ends up puking her guts up in the emergency room or something terrible, right? Like, people like this have absolutely no shame. They have no regard for other people's safety or the rest of society. Therefore, I have no regard for them. If you're stupid enough, honestly, if your IQ is low enough that you are willing to do this and film yourself doing it, you should not be walking around reproducing, voting, being in the general population. Fuck that. Why should you be around doing shit like that when this is like the, I guess, highlight of your life here, you know? Some people just don't deserve it, you know? They don't deserve to be walking around with other people. They don't deserve these opportunities because it's morons like this that I don't know if anyone's been to Walmart recently, or maybe if I just live in a shitty area or what, but it's people like this that have ruined Walmart. You know, they've ruined all these stores. I mean, when I was a kid, I remember you could go into Walmart 24 hours a day. You could literally go in there at 4 a.m. and you could do your grocery shopping. You can't do that anymore, partially because when COVID came around, that's when they stopped doing the 24-hour shit. But there's also just so much liability because you have to watch people like this, make sure they're not coming in fucking everything up. A couple months ago, I went to Walmart to pick up a Lego set for my little cousin for his birthday, right? And I walked back there. I hadn't been in Walmart in a couple of months by this point, right? So the layout was a tad bit different, you know, some things were in different spots. But I go back to the Lego aisle and I'm just bewildered because the entire fucking aisle is behind like that plexiglass with the locks. They've literally locked up every single toy and Lego set and all the deodorant, and like literally half of the fucking items in the stores now are locked behind glass, and you have to go ask an employee to basically sign the item out for you. And not only that, like when you buy Legos now, you literally have to immediately check them out. You can't put them in your cart and walk around with them. Anything. You can't like just look at them and see, oh, you know, the cool stuff on the back of the box like you used to. You literally can't go in the store and just do basic shopping anymore because people go in there and they fucking shoplift all the time. They're stealing thousands of dollars worth of Pokemon cards and Legos and deodorant and shaving cream and clothing and electronics. They got the fucking TVs like all wrapped up and everything. Now it's like all because of people like this who go around filming themselves doing stupid shit for clout, shoplifting, ruining the experience for everybody else. But yet I'm supposed to show sympathy for people like this when they get arrested? Fuck that shit, man. Send his ass away. 20 years, no parole. Let's see how funny it is then, man, while he's eating fucking half-heated up mac and cheese from the prison kitchen every day. I mean, just to wrap this shit up, I just want to say, when you look on the back of like a bottle of bug spray, there's a reason why it says shit like, hey, if you literally consume any of this shit, you need to call the Poison Control Center or seek medical attention right away. It's not because this shit is harmless. It's because it's literally lethal. This guy could have killed somebody. There's no joke, there's no funniness. And all for what? For some social media clout? That's what I also don't get. Because like, sure, you're gonna be popular on social media for a couple days while everyone calls you a moron and a piece of shit and calls for you to go to jail. The police are investigating you, inevitably will arrest you. But what else do you get? You don't get any career from it. It's not like you're gonna blow up like the Hawk Tuah girl or something and you're gonna be Roach Spray Randy or something. That's not happening. You're more than likely going to fucking jail for this. You've basically ruined your life, and all for what? So you can, yeah, be the guy everyone called moronic for 72 hours? It's just fucking mind-blowing to me how stupid some people are, bro. But actually, I know this is crazy. I've already done the whole video, but I just looked up another article right after I got done recording, and it just got announced like a couple of minutes ago, basically. But there are now reports out of Arizona that the man has finally been arrested already. It's been like, what, a day or two maybe since this whole thing broke down in the first place. He has now been arrested. Apparently, he is facing some charges. So the charges that are listed, according to this is ArizonaFamily.com, which is like a local Arizona news outlet. It is a charge of introducing poison, which is a Class 6 felony, criminal damage, Class 1 misdemeanor, endangerment, Class 1 misdemeanor, and theft, Class 1 misdemeanor. So he is charged. Apparently, he's been arrested. He apparently also admitted to all of this in an interview with the police. So not only did he snitch on himself by recording his face in a public area and posting it to his TikTok like a moron, but then when the cops arrested him, he openly admitted to it. So he, at this point, I mean, what defense does he have? This guy is going to be found guilty. There's really no way around it. It probably just depends, like, how much time is the guy going to really get. Anyway, I just wanted to add that in there because it is pretty important context. So I don't think that the charges are like as serious as I would like them to be, and I'm sure a lot of other people would like them to be, but at least he is charged. It does appear that if he's found guilty on these charges, that he could actually face years in prison. I don't see why he wouldn't be found guilty at this point. He admitted to it, filmed himself doing it. They know he did it, right? So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, not spraying roach spray in your cereal, and signing out.